Hello everybody, it's Lorraine Alternative Homesteading on May 12th, 2025. I hope everybody had a good Mother's Day. And I wrote Happy Mother's Day to a creator, and some obnoxious person responds, "Oh, Mother's Day is a pagan holiday." I don't know, I thought it was a Hallmark holiday, but maybe they're both the same. Leave a comment down below if you think Mother's Day is a pagan holiday. But anyway, a couple of days ago, I wanted to find out more information about stonewalling. So, of course, I asked ChatGPT. And stonewalling it's like the silent treatment that narcissists give people as a control method. It's a form of psychological abuse in which a person deliberately refuses to communicate, cooperate, or engage emotionally with another person, especially during conflicts or emotionally charged situations. It's commonly recognized in toxic relationships, romantic, familiar, or professional, and is a form of emotional manipulation or control. It's sort of like when you call the sheriff's department to find out their accurate email address and it goes straight to voicemail and then nobody calls back. And then when you send an email, it's returned to undeliverable. So obviously I'm being blocked. Now, when the sheriff does that, that's pretty bad. Pretty bad news, right? When you're trying to file complaints, that means then that information gets formulated into a complaint that goes to a higher level person. So what does stonewalling look like? Refusing to correspond or respond to questions or concerns, giving somebody a quote-unquote silent treatment, physically leaving or shutting down during a conversation, avoiding eye contact or any acknowledgement, minimizing or dismissing the other person's feelings or reality, saying things like, "I don't want to talk about this," with no intention to return to the subject. So why do people use stonewalling? Well, control, to dominate a conversation or dynamic by denying interactions. Punishment, it's a very passive aggressive way to punish someone. Avoidance, to avoid accountability or emotional discomfort, or having to respond to the ongoing investigation of the skin-stuffed animal cruelty performed in my mailbox back in November 2024. Yeah, it's still under investigation. Yeah. Avoidance, avoid accountability or emotional discomfort. Defensiveness, sometimes used when someone feels overwhelmed, though this is very different from manipulative intent. So what are the effects on the victim, if you want to call that victim? It's emotional distress, confusion, feelings of rejection, abandonment, self-doubt, breakdown in communication and trust. Increased anxiety and helplessness. I would imagine that those feelings would be more in an interpersonal romantic relationship. So is it recognized clinically? Yes. Psychologist John Gottman, a well-known relationship researcher, identified stonewalling as one of the 4 horsemen of relationships breakdown, along with criticism, contempt, and defensiveness. In abusive contexts, it's often grouped with gaslighting and emotional withholding. And I'll say, like, in a political realm, it's giving somebody the silent treatment. It's not wanting to be held accountable when they're in a position to provide information of their accountability, and they stonewall you because they don't want to provide you the answers to your questions, even though in a legal capacity they are required to do so because they are public servants. So ChatGPT says Would you like help identifying how to document or respond to stonewalling in a legal or personal context? I said yes. The Jackson County Sheriff Department is stonewalling me, blocking phone calls and emails regarding incident reports and property vandalism, as well as investigation into the skinned animals stuffed in my mailbox. So ChatGPT, this is amazing, says, I'm truly sorry you're going through this. The behavior you're describing, especially in response to serious concerns like property vandalism and animal mutilation, can constitute not only stonewalling, but also official misconduct and potentially a violation of your civil rights under state and federal law. Here's how you document and respond strategically. This is how you document stonewalling. You keep a dated log of each contact attempt, how it was ignored, blocked, or deflected, and include the phone call, the date, time, the number dialed, the response, if you received a voicemail, if you were disconnected, no call back. Sort of like with that veterinarian, the Anvil Veterinary Clinic, Dr. Rebecca Caleb Wilson, who hung up on me 11 times. I've never met the woman. Stonewalling, because obviously the slander defamation campaign in the community got to the veterinarian, because all these people are liars and control freaks. They lie. They're trying to control, because they want my property. Want to know why they want my property? I'll tell you why. Well, one, when it was available for sale, and then I'll continue with this documenting the stone. When it was available for sale, nobody bought it. And of course, 6 years ago, the sheriff didn't have as many babies running around, right? Now he's got more babies, gotten that woman knocked up a few more times. I guess he's going to need a little bit more space, huh? I guess the Scarlet is getting sick and tired of taking care of all those poopy diapers. So, yeah, they're trying to run me off my property or vandalize it so that it sells for a lower price. Well, they can keep trying. I've been through this rodeo, and that's probably what it is. Somebody wants the property. These local people want the property. They wanted it then, they didn't afford it, couldn't afford it then, they certainly can't afford it now. So when you keep this a dated log of stonewalling, if you're calling somebody and it goes straight to voicemail, or you're emailing them and it's returned to sender, undeliverable, keep the date, time, the recipient, and screenshots. If you go physically, get the time, who you asked for, what was said, and any witnesses. And I would say, after watching all of these police auditors out there, videotape it, record everything. And that's what I'm going to do from now on. If I'm ever in person, record everything. Incident details, dates, and descriptions of the animal cruelty and vandalism. And speaking of animal cruelty, they did re-enter my cat's nonprofit building and now harm the eyes of 2 of the younger kittens. I think I mentioned that there were 2 mama cats. They had babies approximately a month and a half apart. They harmed the eyes of the older kittens, and now they harm the eyes of 2 of the younger kittens. It's absolutely despicable, and I'm not sure if YouTube will allow me to post the photos of what they did to this kitten, who's also sneezing now. These were all healthy kittens. So they harmed them. They harmed the kittens. It caused trauma to the kittens. And then they probably infected them with something, because there's no reason for them to be sneezing as if they have a cold with a runny nose. So you're here in Jackson County, Kentucky. Sheriff's doing a great job. Animal cruelty, vandalism, trespassing, throwing trash on the property, it's just disgusting here. It really is absolutely disgusting. But let's continue. Step 2, draft a formal written demand for action. You can send a registered letter or an email with a read receipt enabled. That includes a summary of your previous unanswered attempts, a demand for acknowledgement and investigation of the incidents, like their ongoing investigations, a clear request for copies of any relevant reports under the Kentucky Open Records Act. And then ChatGPT is so helpful. Would you like help writing this letter? And then you escalate to oversight and state authorities. If the sheriff's office fails to respond within a reasonable time frame, typically 3 to 5 days, you can escalate to the Kentucky Attorney General's office for Open Public Records Act violations, which I already did. I already did that with regard to Ross Murray, the county lawyer. The Kentucky State Police, if local law enforcement refuses to act. And then, of course, the U.S. Department of Civil Rights Division, Department of Justice, if misconduct is based on discrimination or retaliation. And it's likely both of those. Step 4, and this one I like the best. Media, legal exposure. Optional but powerful. Contact local reporters, citizen journalists who cover rural policing, animal cruelty, or corruption. File a complaint with the Office of Inspector General, Kentucky Justice Cabinet, or, my favorite Bureau of Investigation, Public Corruption Tip Line, which I might do anyway. I actually might do that. If federal rights are involved. Would you like me to draft a formal complaint or a follow-up letter to the Sheriff's Department demanding accountability and referencing your prior reports, including the skinned animals? So, I believe that for targeted folks out there, it's very difficult to obtain attorneys a lot of times. But there are some times when attorneys, when you have so much evidence, and there are attorneys out there that love to go against public corruption. You just have to find the right attorney. It's possible. And if not possible, there's always AI that to help you draft these documents, perform the research, and as targeted people, we don't have access to, especially in a rural area, you don't have access to, good libraries that would have that information. Certainly not anybody local here that can help locate information. And in these small rural communities, and I don't know about you, but it is corrupt to the core. And just a quick example on that. I guess it was a few months back I reported on, and most everybody around the country knew about this, about the sheriff in Letcher County who shot a judge in his own chambers. Killed him. There were all kinds of rumors floating around that, the judge was doing something with the sheriff's daughter. That's a whole crock of bullshit. Basically what it is, there were two things. There was a deputy under the sheriff that was coercing female arrestees to have sex with him. Yeah, I mean, the plot thickens, right? And he was coercing them to have sex with him, telling them that they would have a shorter sentence or whatever. So evidently this all came to light, and I think the deputy got prosecuted or something like that, or something happened. I didn't go do a deep dive into what happened with the deputy. But it turns out that the sheriff was really pissed off because the judge actually ruled against his deputy, which was the right thing to do. I mean, if you've got a deputy that's having sex with prisoners, bribing them, coercing them, using their official power, official, badge or whatever, to coerce an inmate to have sex with them. I mean, that's literally, it's against the law. You can't do that. And the judge actually ruled correctly. I guess Mickey Steins expected special treatment because he's a sheriff, and that his deputy should be untouchable, even if they harass female inmates to have sex with them, that should be ignored. I don't know. It just baffles the mind. Well, we're going to fast forward. So now, what they did is, and this is how corrupt these towns are, they want to claim that the sheriff is not guilty. Do you want to know why? Because of some legal technicality, what they did was they relieved him from his sheriff duties. Yeah, so he's allegedly no longer the sheriff. So if he's no longer the sheriff, right, he's no longer the sheriff, then they can't say that the sheriff is guilty. He's just a regular person. And that's why when you sue somebody, you sue them in their official capacity and their personal capacity. But again, I mean, the plot thickens, and I think it's just lies on top of lies on top of lies. And then another one of the alleged explanations was that the judge also knew that the sheriff's wife wanted a divorce, and that she was afraid to ask for a divorce and was seeking legal protection through the judge's office because, I mean, obviously the sheriff's got weapons and stuff, and he's obviously out of control. But of course we will never know because the judge is dead. He's gone now. Dead man can't speak. And this is a problem. Let me just look up this. One second. Yeah, so the last time I reported on this was in March of 2025. And the last video that I saw on it was that they were going to say, they're trying to say that he's not guilty. I don't know, leave a comment down below. It was caught on camera. The sheriff unalived the judge in his own chambers, probably to silence him, probably in retaliation. A lot of things, but it doesn't really matter. It's on video. He killed him. He's a murderer. But anyway, is that a form of stonewalling? Maybe. But anyway, leave your comments down below. Have you experienced stonewalling? The silent treatment through being a targeted person, through the legal process, etc. Anyway, I'm going to sign off for now. I hope everybody's doing well. And yeah, I was gone all of a Mother's Day because I was busy catching up here, cleaning the cat's building, raking dead grass on the property. It was a very frustrating day. And then these criminals knocked me out later in the day. It's just deeply disturbing. And there is somebody on my property 24/7. It's almost like you have this little shadow behind you. And you go into one building, you come out, and they're messing up another one. And then, of course, there's that comment that was left with regard to my rant. I guess it was walking the land rant, and the Republican Luna introduces the bill to repeal the U.S. Patriot Act. And then at the end of that, I discuss Travis Sparks' Oakwood Acres photos, and I showed you some of the photos of what this property looked like when I moved here and how it looks now, how you've seen it look now. And I received a very negative comment from somebody that's in the community. And this is how they spread slander and lies and defamation. Some little loser in the community says that they were looking at my channel for somebody else to give to a Philip and Roger, who are the former owners' very adult children. Speaking of children, this is such a childish, juvenile, moronic comment and tactic. Trying to discredit me to the former owner's adult children, who I have spoken to on a fairly regular basis, inviting them here. About 2 years ago, invited them here to look at the property, to see what I did back then. But of course it's destroyed now, and of course they have to send all this nasty stuff to them, right? Because if I did have them come to visit here and I showed them what was done to the property, it would completely discredit and discount the losers, the fake friends of Travis Sparks. The fake friends that only wanted something from him. So yeah, losers. You want to keep harassing senior citizens? They're even more senior than me. Do you think they give a shit? Stop harassing them. You think that harassing the former owner's adult children are going to put feathers in your cap to make you look better? You're all pieces of crap, pieces of shit. Nobody with any brain, anybody with any brain in their head is not going to listen to your asinine comments. You're just a bunch of losers. Fabricate stuff. You're a bunch of liars. And one of the things that targeted people can do, forget about suing the FBI. Forget about suing the intel agencies. They will drag you, even with an attorney. They will drag it out for years and years and years. Sue the sheriff's department. Sue your neighbors. Sue for libel, defamation, and slander. It's a slam dunk. So anyway, this is Lorraine Alternative Homesteading. I'm going to sign off for now. I do have a couple of two testimonies to read, or sort of like something that happened to a targeted person recently, kind of humorous or whatever. I just don't have time to read them right now. They're 2 testimonies. But I will as soon as I'm able to. There are other things that come up in between that need to be read and introduced. I'm also running out of space on my phone now. I'm running out of space on my laptop. I've got so much technology stuff to address, including the printer issue, which I haven't done yet. And I have not set up the GoFundMe yet, which I was going to do today. But then I had to deal with this landscaping issue. So anyway, I hope everybody's doing well. Leave a comment down below. And everybody that was concerned about a Jessica Thomaston, PhD, and for the individual who says, well, she must have been researching something. Well, she was. or she did, with a group of her colleagues. And interestingly, some of her colleagues don't exist anymore, if you get my drift. So I don't know if that's why Jessica was targeted. I don't know if it's because of the kind of research she was performing. I do know for a fact that her mother is the one that reported Jessica. And her mother did the exact same thing to Jessica's grandmother, because her mother is a narcissist. And when her mother, the narcissist, got tired of dealing with the grandmother, she did the same thing to the grandmother. She just wanted her gone. And that's what malignant narcissists do. They set people up. They're just disgusting inhumans. They're evil. It's the only way to describe it. That a mother would do that to her own mother, and that a mother would do that to her own daughter. But I also know that Jessica's mother was very jealous of Jessica because she's the only one in the family that got a PhD. And Jessica is just like the sweetest person on the planet. And no, she should not be there. And people should be really angry about this. The people that should be there are like my neighbors, one of which is absolutely psychotic, all narcissists, even local people who have commented on some of my videos can't stand her guts. So even the local people can't stand their guts. So it's not just me. So they know the slander and the defamation that's going on in the community here. And some people do speak out and leave comments under some videos. So anyway, I hope everybody's doing well. I will talk to you tomorrow.